Creative Forum on ABS TV. I am your host, Divine Onyaprana. It's another edition to bring you the thoughts of the week, the creative insights, and the creative updates. Today we'll be discussing the topic, the creative world of writing, and you don't want to miss this. We'll be right back after we bring you the thoughts of the week. Nigerian writer, passionate about documenting women's stories, and has over 5 years of experience in creative writing, community management, and content creation. She was shortlisted for the latest London Poetry Competition funded by the British Council and the Isele Short Story Prize. She won the Audience Favourite Award for the Okana Books and the Union Bank Campus Writing Challenge, and was the 3rd prize winner of the Poets in Nigeria Food Poetry Contest. I am talking about the one and only Miss Roslyn Mbadichima. Roslyn, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, and like I said earlier, I will be discussing the topic, the creative world of writing. So Roslyn, it's amazing how you embrace the world of poetry and prose. And I want to ask, how did you get started? Like, what unleashed the spirit of writing for you?
Okay, thank you. This is a very interesting question. It's making me go down and read.
That's why we should go down.
I know I've always been someone who just wrote things down. I think I had this small diary where I would just write these stories that probably didn't make sense at the time when I was younger. But then as I grew up and I got to secondary school, I had a diary. So I would just write, I'll just document my day, more like a journal. So I'll write if people annoyed me, if primary school food was bad, if I was missing home, whatever. I just documented like my experience. And at the time, I just knew I loved writing. I didn't see it beyond journaling. I didn't think I could make like a career out of writing. And then I had a literature teacher who, you're not supposed to be writing your diary during literature class.
That's true.
But I was writing during literature class, and then she sees the diary, and I thought I'm going to go home, they're going to expel me, all my secrets are out in the world. Because I literally write the teacher's name, I'm like, I'm annoyed, I don't like this, that's that.
Okay.
So I knew I was doomed, but then she called me and she just said, oh, I like the way you write. So the punishment she gave me was to go and write a poem about her. I had a book of poems too, so she just, made me realize that this is not a joke, and you can probably take this seriously. And then I just started applying for contests and competitions, and I would win, I wouldn't even make the short list, and then I started winning some, losing some. So the first time I got money from a prize, I just looked at it and I'm like, okay, so I wrote this story about this boy and this girl, and they are going to pay me for it. So I'm going to do this forever. So that's essentially how I started writing.
Okay, so I get that in the way you started, it was like more of journaling and diary writing for you. But when you started getting exposed to it, did you have any plans of taking it to a bigger level, or were you still heading in a different career path?
Yeah, I'm studying law. I'm in my final year.
Okay.
So I'm studying, I like to say like, I'm studying law because I felt like that was a reasonable thing to do as an accident at the time. I used to go for debates and stuff.
Yes.
So it just made sense. And then, I knew a couple of lawyers who were successful. So I'll just go to uni and do this thing that everybody thinks is great to do. And I was writing on the side. Still I'm writing on the side. So I've never, before I started, or before I got into uni, I never saw this as like a huge career path. But now, if you ask me, I want to travel to a country and just write full time and just get people to pay me to tell stories.
Yeah.
So now, as I am now, having known what I've known over the years, I feel like it's something that is definitely worth pursuing. Something that I can even do law on the side for. That's how
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to more opportunities that just require me to, initiate my creative processes and tell stories essentially.
Yeah. Okay, so there's this stereotype around anything that has to do with creative writing. They're like, if I ask you, what do you do? Tell me I'm a writer. I think you're not serious. You're not even started. That's not one of the job opportunities we have in this country.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Well, to be fair, when most African parents do this, don't be a writer, it's because to them they see it as a hobby. I mean, it's great. We appreciate the fact that you can put pen to paper. That's amazing. But in terms of where they're coming from, writing was probably not a career prospect, or within a career prospect. Let's say maybe you are a journalist or of course you're a lawyer, you write things. I mean, civil servants, we write things. They ask us to do this letter or we should take minutes of meeting. You're a secretary.
You're writing.
But writers stand alone as maybe as whatever form of writing is foreign to them. And most people would think that you're not serious. And as much as I want to put the blame on people not seeing that writing is a real job, I realize that some writers have to do some other things to support their creative passion. For me right now, it's changing because I think people are seeing the value of writers. I say it all the time, like it's a beautiful time to be a writer now because you have startups, you have companies, you have magazines, journals who now who are in need of writers, who see the value of writers. But still, it's not as certain or as profitable per se as like going to be a doctor, going to be an engineer. But I think like you can, if you're very passionate about it, you can find a way to make it a living.
Yeah.
Do you understand? But doesn't mean you should why Nigerian doesn't mean like you have something you're doing that's saying you should drop it because I want to be a writer because you'll be very hungry. And if you're hungry, I don't think your creativity can flow.
Yeah.
So it's essential that you have something that you're doing. Over time you see that, when you're in a comfortable place and you're writing these beautiful things, it will start paying you enough to say, oh, okay, I'm going to do this full time. But it's definitely a real job. I think now I can say, what do you do for a living? I'm a writer. Yeah. And the weirdness is reducing because people, they need to see results. So don't maybe win a contest or something. Or get published somewhere and tell your village people so that they can see.
Okay. I think I will have to agree with that. While you want to make writing a full-time career, it's important that you at least at a comfortable level before you decide to take it. Because here in Nigeria, if you go into it with the aim of I'm going to make it, you're gonna be hungry.
Very hungry.
But just get comfortable and start writing as a full-time career.
Yeah.
Okay, so like back to you. When you started out writing and you discovered that you could put pen to paper, were you before you started submitting, were you reserved about showing people your work? I mean, you started from diary writing. And then you're telling you can write. Were you reserved? If submitting work, were you reserved about that?
Yeah, I was. The thing is, I don't know how reserved. Truth is, when I was writing for the diary, right, and I also had like a book of poems. Nobody will see that because God knows what was happening. I was going to show it to like a couple of my friends in secondary school, and then they would read it, not understand it. They're like, the big words they're using, the grammar, we love it. So I'll show it to like certain people. So it was not like I was ashamed per se. It was just, I just didn't think, I didn't see the appeal. I didn't understand. Like, I wrote something in here. What is the business of the world? What I'm writing, I'm saying that the bed is flat. It was their own. So that was what it was for me. But then I don't know, I read somewhere that, you can start a blog and share. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a blog. In my mind, I'm like, I and my family members, those who love me, will read it now. I just want to have a place where, okay, this is my corner of the internet where I write stuff. So I started doing that. But then this is why I always advocate for like taking writing classes or belonging to a community like of writers. So I think when I got the Nairobi fiction writing workshop, the scholarship, so they would just teach us how to write and then they would advise us to submit it to places. And then I have people in the class who, if you Google them, you would see like a list of their publications. And then somebody after the class now asked me that am I one of those writers who are just very reserved about their work, that I created like lots of short stories and poetry like during the workshop, so why is it not anywhere? I'm like, sorry, where is it supposed to be? I thought the only places you could submit was when maybe there's a contest you submit. And some of these contests are very thematic. There's like, we write about domestic violence, so you can also submit something you wrote about birds.
Yeah.
So when she sent me like a list of like journals, and even when I did the writing workshop for spring, I realized also I can just wake up and just, share this work to like 15, 20 magazines and then they'll get back to me and publish me. So that was when I actually started doing that. And even when I did that, I did my earliest publication, I didn't want to share it. Because I think your writing is fancy until you publish it. Honestly, because I'm seeing, I'm like, oh my god, then put it on the website, I'm like, that comma shouldn't have been there, that full stop shouldn't have been there.
Yes.
But yeah, in summary, I was definitely reserved. But now I feel like it's part of growth. I think even the greatest of writers look at like some of the work they created 10 years back, and then they'll cringe. So it's fine.
I understand that cringy part. I understand. Okay, but when you started, actually showing the world your works, were there criticisms or rejections? How did you feel? What did the feelings make you do?
The criticisms I've received, I think are constructive. They're from people who mean well. People who are saying something like, I think you could tell the story better, you should do this. But the rejection part, I don't think I've gotten any hateful comments per se. It's just, I think if you don't like it, you don't like it. Genuinely, there are different genres of writing. So the only criticism per se I've gotten online is someone saying, they couldn't relate to my experience. I think I'd written about something and they just couldn't relate to it, or it was not their reality. So that's different. But then the rejections, you can be the greatest there ever is, and you just still get rejected. It's part of it. I have cried for a rejection before because it was like a period of no. There was no yes. So it passed. I went back to you. I'm like, I've done workshops. Generally, I've done workshops. They say we should write, I should read. I'm reading. I'm spending time on writing. So why is everybody saying no? And the heartbreaking part was I know no is no. But the no I was getting was this no of the near success syndrome. So they told me, we just love this. It made us, we spent 20 minutes debating. Well, we just had to drop. So I'm like, what's making you guys drop me on the way? But I've learned that as much as you're growing as a writer, it can be a bunch of things. It can be that maybe their quota is small, they want 10, and then there are 50 amazing works, so you give 10. Or it can be time, maybe at the time of the magazine. It can be expensive. Because some magazines will tell you that they don't have a thing, it's teamless, for example. But maybe it's team level, a lot of people are meeting water stories there. Maybe they're like, we've seen a lot of good water stories, so let us publish this in this issue. So it's a bunch of things. So I definitely felt, sad sometimes, but I'm getting a hang of it, so.
You can never totally get over rejections and criticisms. Understood. Okay, so since we're speaking on the issue of themes, from your works, you mostly write about women. Yeah. I want to know what inspires that, and if there are other themes you write about.
Well, I write about pretty much anything that interests me, generally. I can write something as serious as domestic violence, and tomorrow I want to write about trees. So I think when I did my spring writing workshop, I think I had this issue as well. And then my mentor, Ibukun, she told me the fact that you write about women doesn't mean you cannot write about trees. So you should not stifle your creativity. So I'm passionate about documenting women's stories because I feel like people think that we're at a point where a lot of these stories are being told, which is true. But then I still feel like there's a kind of censorship that comes with telling women's stories. Okay. Because I'll give a typical example. As much as you read about different things maybe you experience with a gynecologist or something, if something goes on in your body as a woman and go to the hospital, you think it's just you. But then you will now go and they're telling you, it's normal, this happens to the best of us. And I'm like, if it happens to the best of us, why is it not out there? Or you go to TikTok, or I think I listened to something on a podcast where a woman was talking about losing her teeth after giving birth because the baby can take the calcium. So I
did not know that.
Yeah, so I thought this is fun fact, oh my god. And the comment section, I'm not even joking, thousands of women will say, oh yes, this happened to me, oh yes. And I'm like, the only thing we know is probably hair loss. Even postpartum depression is not even talked about as it's supposed to be talked about. So I just feel like all these untold stories, and also trying to paint women, because I think there's this whole sainthood that we wear on women. You understand? We don't give women the grace to feel as much as we give men the grace to feel. So I want to create stories where women are allowed to feel in the way men are allowed to feel. A story where the woman she must not be this virtuous, sitting down, perfect, chaste woman. I want to create stories, human stories, because we're human and we're different. Things are happening. So that's why it looks like there was a time in my life where if you see us write about birth, somehow inside the story there must be a woman doing something. I have to actually catch myself because while that is important, it should not be the basis of my creative process or my thematic focus. So I write about anything, to be honest, but I feel more purposeful, quote unquote, when I'm creating work that centers women.
Okay. Okay, interesting discussion we're having right here. You're still watching the Creative Forum. We have a lot more for you when we come back from the break. You're welcome back. We are still discussing the topic, the creative world of writing, and we're here with Rosalie. Okay, so Rosalie, I would like to ask, seeing as you explore both worlds of prose and poetry, which would you say is your favorite genre?
Yeah, I'm going to be that mom that says, well, I love all my children. The truth is that I love both. I feel like some ideas come to me and I know that this idea that's coming to me is poetry. So my ideas come and I know it's definitely prose. And then there are some that come and then they are both. Because I think one of my most successful, if I do say so myself, based on readership, short story, so many because a lot of people read it. I had a poem called Delta that it was based on the same idea. So all this to say, I love love, but poetry is my first love because I feel like I don't necessarily have to explain myself in poetry. Chronology, I know there are poems that are narrative and step by step, but like it's almost as if chronology doesn't matter when I'm writing poetry. So anything can be anything because I feel anything. The cloud is blue today because I'm sad.
Because you're sad.
The sun is orange because I'm happy. That man is legless because I'm upset. You know, anything. I think for there's poetry of sound of poetry. So sometimes poetry is for some people it's about how the language is for them, how they read it, how it sounds in their ears. So sometimes you can just string beautiful words together and it makes beautiful poetry. But you can't do that with prose because you're telling a story. Even if it's disobedient prose, even if it's science fiction, even if it's fantasy, something has to flow. You have to be intentional about how you're telling your story. Like poetry is intentional too, but I just feel like I can be a boss and I'm just documenting anyhow, talking about things, using the metaphors that I like, and poetry affords me, gives me that. I don't know if that's a reality for every fiction writer, but for me, when I'm writing fiction, I'm serious. I'm like on the front of my laptop. This is what is happening. Even if I'm writing from whatever, I'm calmer. But poetry, I'm more at ease. But I love both.
Okay. So, do you have any mentors you look up to as a creative writer?
Oh yeah, there's a lot actually. Now I've forgotten about that. Well, okay, as a creative writer, I'm going to talk about like those that are close to home and then those that have like critical acclaim or So I would say there is Ibukun, who was my mentor at Spring, then Oyindamola Shola, who is CEO of Spring, and then there is Clifton, who taught me poetry for the Nairobi Fiction Writing Workshop. There's Okamaka Olisakwe, there's Kenichi Uzo. All these people are people who essentially, made a way for me. There's Jackie. These are people who call me when they read my work and they have nice things to say, they have criticism. People I know are intentional about my growth and I'm not far from home. Do you understand? So these are people I can call and say, okay, this is happening in my writing, what should I do about it? I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody's name somehow, somewhere, but they'll be fine. Critical academic, I think I'll say Chimamanda.
Oh.
Yeah, because I cannot shake off the feeling I got reading Purple Hibiscus. It's the kind of book you read and you are wondering, it's fast reading for pleasure. You're like, how did the writer do this thing that the writer has done? So apart from like Chinua Achebe's things from my past, I like to say that like Chimamanda was like my proper, my introduction to proper like African literature. So I have met her once, but like in a very
bragging right.
She probably doesn't remember me, but like it was like a very brief, But I just like her whole essence as a person, like inspires me to, put my foot down and create good stories. And yeah, that's essential. Those are essentially the people like I center.
That's beautiful. In your journey as a creative writer, more bragging rights question. Would you consider yourself as a beginner, an intermediate, or a pro? Give it to me, sister.
No, I don't think all of us are imagining. When I say we're all emerging writers, but when I say this to some of my writer friends, they look at me like you don't know what you're saying. And I've also learned that probably, let's say, I think I'm doing fairly okay. I cannot call myself an emerging writer anymore because I was going to apply for something. It looked like a juicy writing opportunity, and they said, "Oh, you have to be an emerging writer." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll imagine." And they said, "Oh, you have to have had at least 1 to 3 publications," and I've had more than that. So it's making me realize that there are sticks to measure this thing. I teach poetry for spring, June, July every year. So I think if they put me in a position to teach somebody, I'm going past beginner stage.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we're all growing up. I don't come in pro yet because I still read some things and I'm like, I recently read a story that somebody wrote and I just fell down and I'm like, so people are writing this thing and you are here. Where?
Okay. Okay. So added to your portfolio as a creative writer, you're also a content strategist. In that you manage pages, brands. If I should use the word, how's the experience for you like?
Oh, apart from writing, I really enjoy social media. And I feel like the African friends watching me now, like, what are you to the young children? I think you should know where to take break from social media, but the thrill of posting something and reaching thousands of people fascinates me. I'm just behind the scenes. So that's how I got into social media management. And because I'm such a literary person, I've only ever managed social media pages of literary magazines or literary journals, or people in the creative space essentially. So that way I'm not far from home, let's say. So it just involves, the behind the scenes of, okay, and a new issue of the magazine is coming out, and how do we ensure readership for this particular issue? What kind of content do we create that will drive sales for because I manage the social media pages like of a press. So it's like, oh, okay, we want these books to sell. How do we get it to the online audience? So all those things are very fascinating to me. They thrill me. And you still have to read because, if I'm going to say, oh, I'm going to take like excerpts from a story to post on social media, I kind of have to read a reasonable portion of the story to know, okay, this is something I feel like will appeal to a certain audience. Or maybe we have a Christmas story and Christmas is coming, or we have an Easter story, or it's Women's Day and we have a story about domestic violence or something. So just doing that puts me in, I think it's stressful, but it puts me in a very thrilling creative position because then you also do a bit of graphic design.
Wow.
I do a bit. I cannot call myself a graphic designer, but I think it comes with the territory. Being a social media manager, you have to have the basic knowledge, or maybe on Canva or things like that, and you get to interview people or turn their interview into like marketable content for social media. So there are times when if someone on an interview, I can try to make a reel out of the interview. Maybe take, use infographics or use stock videos to portray what they said. So it's just exciting for me. I feel like in the future I'll probably expand and manage like pages or do content strategy or creative directing for fashion brands and whatever. But now I think I'm in my comfort zone. I like I like that it's literary and it gives me more insight. Like when I get rejected now, or when I feel like a magazine is not publicizing my work as they should, I'm thinking you're doing it so you understand the logistics, you understand how hard it is. So I give more grace to like small presses who don't do so much of publicity because I understand everything that it entails essentially.
Okay, it sounds like you're having so much fun, but is there any challenges that come with this experience?
Yes, first of all, you really have to learn. So a lot of things I do or I know now I learned on the job. So there are times when you can make a mistake or a typographical error or you mix up the names of authors. I have done that before. I think there's no mistake that is makeable that I have not made. And sometimes you schedule ahead of time, so you're like, I've scheduled for a week, so I'm going to go about my business. And then you get like 5 missed calls and they're like, what is that? We're taking it down. This person is complaining. I think I posted a quote about a big writer in this country. I think I had misquoted her or something, and she quoted the tweet and corrected it. It wasn't something dramatic, but it's not a good outlook for the brand that I represent.
Yeah.
So these are the challenges, and it takes time. I'm studying law, and law is not exactly something you do and remove your eyes. So it takes time. It takes time. As any social media manager, we are working, I can be in salon, I'm designing, I'm posting, it's on the go. So that's just the downside. It takes a lot of time. expect you to be serious all the time. No, genuinely. And then they expect the way you portray yourself in the world to be a certain way. So there's a writer aesthetic. I think I'm even buying it to that. I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, no, there's definitely a writer aesthetic.
Yeah.
Brown, on your page there are candles, there's art, there's a mysterious man.
You're design in Africa.
Yes, there's all those words.
Dreadlocks.
I'm telling you. So people expect you to fit into the writer aesthetic. And I think it happens to some writers unconsciously. Just in a space where you feel like there has to be ceremony, there has to be some kind of difference or seriousness. Even when you're playing, people want to go to your page and you'll see either like short quotes or maybe a black and white video about Asian writer dropping gems. So when you're dancing on TikTok, or talking about your favorite movie and it's something that's not conventional, maybe you watch one of all those things. I'm going to say anime now, but I feel like they will come from you. So when you say you watch something that is not, writerly per se, people feel like maybe I don't understand the kind of writing that this one is doing. Well, but I'm sure there are other ones. Other writers can tell us.
Okay. Alright, so do you have any social media platforms where we can see more of your awesomeness and read more of your works?
Okay, I feel like I'm everywhere apart from TikTok. But I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, am I on Facebook? I have a Facebook account. Yeah, I have a TikTok. I think I'm everywhere. But my IG handle is Rosely_4. Then my Twitter handle is R_Ichima. I think if you message me there, you get a response. I'm everywhere. But I think I like Instagram. It's I'm always there.
Okay. So we are about to enter a soulful question. What inspires you to keep writing?
Yeah, I think life in general. I think if I was writing before I knew that world could read my writing, I feel like writing helps me process things. So there are things that I would never publish, which I think are a great work, but I feel like it would be like too much expose on my life. So I just think whenever I feel like, say for example, I have a conversation with somebody and then maybe we left on a bad note, and I want to check, was I at fault, was this person at fault? The best way I know how to do is to calm down, genuinely do this, and write, I walked into the sitting room. She was eating Indomie. I now said, give me my Indomie. And she said no. So when I do that thing and I read it, I'm like, okay, this is where you went wrong and this is where you didn't go wrong. And then generally, I feel like my writing is, if I'm looking at writing as a thing of purpose, I realize it's more than me. Because I've had people read my work and come back to tell me that, it inspired me this way, it made me. So sometimes I'm reading, I'm like, this work is what is inspiring me. But I'm also realizing as I grow, it's larger than me. So there are people for whom my story will give hope. There are people for whom my story will give entertainment. There are people for whom my story will give some sort of succor and support. So just remembering that it's not just you, as much as this writing is your own. And you also need to reach people in the most honest and the most true way. It just motivates me to keep writing.
I am so touched. I want to cry. But I can't. It's been a wonderful conversation with you, Rosalie. Writing can give people hope, support. Writing is life. That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. So as we conclude the Creative Insights, coming up for you right now is the Creative Update. Transhumance and Escapism. So if you're an artist and you're interested, do well to submit, as submission is free. And that's it for today's segment of the Creative Forum. Thank you for joining us. Till next time, I am your host, Divine Onyekwana.